A few weeks back, I made a comment about Zak George's training methods in one of my videos, and I received quite a bit of pushback, which got me thinking, do people think that Zak George is a real dog trainer? Today we're diving headfirst into why following Zak George's advice could be the main reason why your dog's behaviour has taken such a nosedive as of late. Strap in, because in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to unpack the one mistake Zak makes in almost every single video and the reason why literally no professional dog trainer takes him seriously. Have you ever wondered why, despite religiously copying the likes of Zak George, your dog's behaviour isn't exactly reaching Crufts levels? If you're anything like the thousands of desperate dog owners out there, you might notice something funny. And by funny, I mean shit. Your dog's behaviour is actually getting worse. Now, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. Zak's videos have all the razzle-dazzle and big scary words to scare the shit out of you so you buy his treat packages. But time and time again, he's making a mistake that you'll want to avoid as much as you want to avoid those really thin poo bags that your fingers accidentally slip through and you're going to end up getting a, well, shitty finger. This is dog training kindergarten material, genuinely day one, week one stuff. So recently, Zak posted this video where he gave millions of people some questionable advice. And today I'm going to deconstruct why that method, if you can call it that, is like trying to put out a fire with a can of Supreme Diesel. Let me break it down for you, and by the end of this, you'll be in on his dirty little secret. In this video, Zak encourages viewers to deter your dog from bad behavior by 1. Getting their attention first. P.S. They got yours first. 2, give a command. And 3, then reward the command. He then demonstrates this with Shade, the Cane Corso puppy. Essentially, positively interrupt the dog's bad behavior, throw out some basic commands, and reward the dog for doing something else. Sounds fair enough. Unfortunately, it's not, and here's why. While Zak thinks he's addressing the bad behavior, what's actually happening is a dog training 101 mess. Before we go too deep, let me give you an alternate example. Imagine a competition retrieve in dog training. You know, where the dog picks up an object and returns it to you in the precise front position. Now, if you're watching this, there's a 99.9% chance that unless you're planning on enrolling your dog into the Canine Olympics, then this is useless to you. But stick with me for a moment. Training a retrieve is like building a complex Lego structure. You've got individual pieces or behaviors like hold, front, recall, and so on. And all these need to be shaped separately before you can chain them together. But once each piece is strong enough, you can add them together and eventually reward them as a chain. So for in this example here, by rewarding the retrieve, I also theoretically reward each part of the sequence. Can you see where I'm going yet? And here's where it all goes tits up for Zak. His method of interrupting bad behavior may seem to work in the moment, but long term, we've just created a behavioral chain and not only rewarded the recall, but the counter surfing too. You're actually reinforcing the very thing you don't want, not to mention the dog learning that getting up to no good gets your attention and gets you off the sofa. It's like being on a diet and every time you eat a salad, you reward yourself with a Five Guys milkshake. It's completely counterintuitive. Interrupting a behavior doesn't necessarily mean reducing it. And don't worry, I'm going to give you a solution. But first, let's talk about a second layer to this problem that definitely has dog trainers all over the world watching it and pulling their hair out. Zak's advice isn't just teaching a dog to behave poorly, it's actively turning useful commands like your dog's recall into something your dog wants to ignore. This is what we refer to as poisoning our commands. Every time you pull your dog away from something exciting using your recall, you're essentially saying, hey, stop having fun and do this instead. It's the equivalent of getting a text from the missus while you're out with the lads, and yeah, she might have cooked you steak for tea, but if you're a few beers deep, eventually you're gonna stop answering the phone. Yeah, babe, just having one more pint. So what should you be doing instead? Well, you've got 3 solid options here, so take notes. Firstly, you can interrupt the behavior, but unfavorably. Yep, you heard me. If you're going to stop your dog mid-mischief, you might need to add something unfavorable to your dog. Then add a little delay before redirecting them into something more productive. That way, they don't associate the bad behavior with the reinforcer. Number 2, you could just manage the situation. If you're not up for the whole delayed gratification routine, then your best bet is the good old-fashioned management. You use a leash in the house or baby gates, or just keep certain things out of reach of temptation in the first place. Or 3, you could change the behavior, but before it happens. Be proactive. Prevent the behavior before it starts, and then redirect your dog's focus onto something positive before they get themselves into trouble. Each of these methods involve using a house line, which is perfect if you've got a puppy, and if you're not sure what a house line is, then no worries. Just click the link in the description for a free puppy guide that'll walk you through it. P.S. It'll work for adult dogs too that are getting themselves up to no good. Here's the thing. Zak's methods don't just reinforce unwanted behaviors. They actually make your dog less likely to listen to you in the long run. This isn't some sort of wild opinion. It's basic behavioral law. So next time you're watching one of Zak's videos, take it with a massive grain of salt and maybe some earplugs.